Oh yeah, Christ, how could I forget this? Alright, yeah, so some other kind of, I suppose, exciting news for the channel is, for a while, some of you have probably been aware, if you like follow me on Twitter, I've been tweeting about it every now and then. Recently, you know, for the past 3 months actually, I've been trying on and off to do a video. You know, I've done, what is it, 3 videos basically? I've done 3 of those kind of typical kind of Guild Wars 2 kind of just talk about a feature or something, you know, that are also popular on YouTube at the moment, where you just talk about some crap. I've done like 3 of those at the moment. I was actually working on doing another one, one on dynamic events, because I know because of the Let's Play, it probably seems like I'm just a massive fanboy of Guild Wars and ArenaNet, and to an extent I am, but I'm not super positive about everything, and I don't think everything that Guild Wars 2 is offering is going to be perfect. So there are a few things, and I'm not saying that they're completely flawed, but there were a few things that I wanted to put in a video, basically, of the problems that I see with dynamic events, right? I thought, you know what, if I just do it in a nice way, people won't think I'm trolling, I won't piss people off because they like the game, you know, and I can just sort of explain my worries about the event system, and in part that's to do with the way it scales and difficulty level of events and all this kind of stuff. But there was a lot to talk about, right? Dynamic events are a huge topic, and for like the past 3 months I've been wanting to put this video out. I really started working on it just before, I think a couple of weeks before I did that Mesmer video, if you remember that little Mesmer video I did. So it was quite a while ago. But the thing is, like, where it's such a big, well, for a starter, I keep putting off actually writing in it. And the times that I do start to sort of write out my script and think, right, what do I want to talk about? When do I want to talk about? Every time I do, I end up just kind of thinking, right, who exactly is my audience here? And I guess I can't decide, because I start writing and I'll say, right, okay, this is a problem. I want to talk about this particular problem with dynamic events. And I think, well, hold on, I have to actually explain how the dynamic events are working, how this does this, or how this does this. So here we go, Loamhurst, by the way, we're coming close. This is obviously where the mission ended for Divinity Coast. Loamhurst, it's still there in Guild Wars 2, I think, Loamhurst? Is it that there's something to do with like, oh yeah, there's also one, you know, when we were in this mission, you get like all the tablets of the White Mantle and you can read them, and like they're just quite blatantly fucked up. Every like comment that's on the tablets, it just makes the religion seem completely corrupt and stupid. One of those mentions something called the Book of Loam or something, and there's kind of theories that it's because of Loamhurst here. This is exactly where the mission ended, by the way. Remember, the Chosen came here, and then it all sort of ended, and that was basically it. In fact, I think there was a guy on this pedestal, wasn't there? If you spoke to him, you'd get a gold bonus depending on how many Chosen you'd saved, which was actually quite cool. And obviously the Eye of Janthiel was with us at the time. I think it sort of landed here or something like that. But yeah, we get to come back to the village. We actually get to walk around without fear of a cutscene ruin and everything. Yeah, it's actually pretty damn scenic, isn't it? It's pretty cool. Also, the other cool thing is the White Mantle with a Scourge of Tyria. Be careful when you say that. Haven't you been reading Murray's articles about how everybody dares to whisper these names? And you just sit there and say it out loud, really? We should have known the White Mantle are not what they seem to be. They're right over that hill, you silly woman. But yeah, so another cool thing about Loamhurst here is because the mission ended here, you couldn't really explore the town, and neither, you see this fort over here in the background, neither could you come up here. In fact, this whole drawbridge here was not down as it is right now when you come here in the mission. It's actually up. You can't get up here. So this actually lets people, and this is why I say that this is better, this map, not just because of the lab that's down there and stuff like that, the fact that they updated this lab, because it actually gives you access to more areas for Explorer of Tyria, Tyrian Cartographer. You can't actually come up to this fort, which is really cool. And in fact, when you complete the War in Kryta, you can continue going through the secret river passage, but once the War in Kryta is over, obviously none of these guys are here to fight. This is Ken, by the way. You can see he hits like a boss. But we're still going. But yeah, so basically what you can do is once you've completed the War in Kryta, you can keep coming back here, and you'll find it completely devoid of all enemies. So it's a brilliant time to come back here and rack up loads of points for your Explorer title if you still need to. Because A, you can come to this fort. He's killing me because I'm not infused, and I forgot after that episode, just as I said I would, and I still haven't uploaded that video yet. So none of you guys have had a chance to remind me and comment. If I forget it again, please leave a comment so I don't forget. Christ. But yeah, so this is a cool place you can come. As for us, we've already killed Ken, so we have the key. As you can see there, it's like in the dungeon series, you get a little key up here. But I'm going to come over and kill anyway. And I think actually there's some weird, like, you can walk through the walls or some crap like that here. It's another Jade Armor. I guess if I can keep the Jade Armor knocked down, I am running Earthshaker after all. I can stop him using Spectral Agony on me. I think it is quite commendable that my team's managing to heal me up as fast as they are and res me as fast as they are. When Prophecies came out, the idea of going up against just one person not being infused against the Mersal was just completely ludicrous, but, you know, it's actually working pretty well here. So, you got another boss here, Vest the Disputant, if you want to fight her. You know, it's all about how much you want the greens, I suppose, stuff like that. So there you go, she drops the Savant's robes. And now we can begin our long walk back. There's actually still a tablet of Janthir here. Should we read it? And another one. Should we read these? You couldn't have accessed these in the missions, surely. Oh, you can't read them. Well, that sucks. Don't put them there and then not read them. That's kind of lame, isn't it? But anyway, yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. So I've been doing this dynamic events thing. I've been going on with it, and every time I was writing more and more and more, and I was like, well, do I want it to be a summary video? Do I want it to be a super long video? And I had loads written out, but in the end I was boring myself at the start, because I decided, right, I want to kind of do an all-in-one. I want to say what my problems with it are. I want to say everything that I kind of think about dynamic events, and I want to explain what they are as well. But then it was like, and I read it out loud, I did like a test run, but it was like 10 minutes of me just sitting there saying the same stuff that just everyone else has said, or if you've read like the dynamic events blog or been on a forum for a second, you'd know about. And I was just kind of sitting there thinking, I'm not adding any insights here, this is just boring, I don't want to be doing this. So I stopped, and but anyway, that's been a problem for a while. I've been thinking, right, what do I really want to do? But I do want to start doing more videos kind of like that. A lot of you guys ask for it. A lot of the time I've turned around and been like, oh, everybody's doing those kind of videos. Should I just flag everyone to away so that we die? Yeah, I will flag everyone to avoid combat. So every time you guys have been saying, oh, do you want to do a video like that? You should do a video. And I'm not saying I want to do this at all, but, you know, you should do a video series on your professions and why you like them, blah, blah, blah. I've said, oh, no, everybody else is doing that kind of stuff. However, I do think that I do have quite a few things that I can offer. So I would like to do some episodes on that, and that's what I've been thinking of doing recently. But I've kind of come to the conclusion anyway, which is taking me a long time to get to here. I'm going to have to disable all of this stuff. That, I'm thinking of doing a few new videos, like the WTF kind of stuff. I think one of them, the first one I'll do, will be basically this dynamic event things, and it will be called something like, I don't know, WTF no quests, or maybe I'll call it something else, I don't know. Can we please wipe? Oh, I see, it's because we've already killed everyone. Brilliant. Okay, let's just go to the next area. But yeah, so there you go. That's, you expect to see that kind of stuff on the channel. I was thinking, right, okay, what kind of videos could I do that about kind of stuff that's been removed from Guild Wars 2, or misconceptions about it, or things that people think are going to be problems. Like, one person came up with a fantastic, and this is basically what gave me the idea to maybe do all sorts of different videos on this, so I thank you to whoever that was who sent me that message. Somebody came up with this fantastic idea of an episode on called something like WTF no raids. Like, people always bitch about in Guild Wars 2, they're like, oh, why are there no 50-man raids like in WoW? Why is there not? And, you know, there's really good reasons for that, and I could do a whole video on that kind of stuff. So what I did, like, a couple of nights ago, 2 nights ago, I was just up thinking about this kind of stuff, and I just got on my computer and I hashed out in literally about 3 minutes flat about 12 different videos I reckon I could do. You know, if I do one every fortnight or something like that, that's a long time worth of content, you know, until the game actually comes out, of some cool little videos like that. So I'm thinking of doing that kind of stuff, and the only reason I mention this now is because I thought you guys might be like to know about the fact that that's going up on the channel. So do let me know what you think in the comments, whether you've got any ideas on that. The only thing that holds me back on the series, actually, there we go, so we finally wiped. The only thing that holds me back on the idea of the series at the moment is that I've got nothing to go on screen. So if you guys have got any ideas about, like, I don't want to just be sitting there doing like trailer clips constantly over. I probably will have to resort to doing that. The only other thing I can possibly think that I want to do is to do like I don't know, like images, like actual like stuff drawn in paint or something, but I suck so much at Photoshop and paint and stuff like that. So if you're like a good artist as well, and you're actually interested in that kind of thing, this isn't why I'm telling you, this wasn't my original plan here, but if you are and you fancy maybe doing that kind of stuff, do give me a shout. But yeah, that's the only thing holding me back. If you guys have got any good ideas of stuff to go on screen, then please do feel free to tell me. But yeah, okay, so we're back. Blim's not here. Let's get back to the story, shall we? For those of you actually watching the videos for this story, we're going to speak to Zin here. Have you got our weapon for us? He says, yes, don't pester me. Okay, I'm done. I had to do a bit of a rush job, but it should suit your needs just fine. Here's how it works. I'll speak slowly and use small words so that you might understand me. Take this beacon with you, and when you are in need of some extra firepower, simply drop the beacon on the ground. That marks the target for the golem bombardment. Fear not the falling golems. I've calibrated them to harm only your enemies. I can give you one for now, but return here once you've used it, and I will deliver you another beacon. See that last line there? Return here once you've used it? Yeah, that basically just means that this is a crappy, useless concept for a mechanic. It sucks. It's a shame, because ArenaNet obviously went to all the effort of building golems that go falling down from the sky. They actually look just like the ones that are in the one of the boss quests for Zin's original quest chain. They actually look just like those. But it's a useless mechanic because, hey, look, I'm a warrior. I need my hammer to actually do damage here. Did I set everybody to the right? Yeah, I did. I'm a warrior. I need my hammer here. Well, what am I supposed to do with this bundle item the entire time? What do? You run over, drop it, do minor damage with the golems that fall down. Oh, we can speak to him again. He's got different dialogue. Need another beacon already? You are the destructive sort, aren't you, Booker? Yes, I need one, please. There you go. Use it wisely. Okay, cool. So we're going to get going. Was he being sarcastic there, by the way, when he said use it wisely? So yeah, it's a shame. Like, I either stand here holding a beacon for ages, drop it, and then what? Run all the way back. It's just not worth it. So we're just gonna have to drop it and give up. It's a shame. I don't know why ArenaNet didn't see it coming, honestly. Maybe, you know, they could have at least upped the damage that this thing does to like an incredible amount. That would have been cool. I would have liked that, but it's just useless. It's really useless, and I feel sorry to say it, but this isn't all we see from Zin and Blim, and by no means is this all we see. However, if you feel disappointed by their research right now, I wouldn't get your hopes up for their eventual research that helps at the end of War in Kryta. What's going to happen here is they're going to continue their research, going to keep working on the seer. I mean, what's this even got to do with the seer? It's just ridiculous. They're going to keep working on the seer, and they'll keep doing stuff. And, you know, we were all so excited about what potentially could come of it. And, well, we'll see it when we see it, and I'll bitch about it when we see it, but, let's just say it was a bit of a bit upsetting when that happened there, but we're going to continue on. Zin and Blim, the story's cool. I like it mostly because of, in the book, do you know what, I'll just come out explicitly say in the book, the start of Ghost of Ascalon, right, I think it's the first 3 chapters, or maybe it's just the first 2, basically it's a group of people who are in a tomb. Oh, there we go. Everybody's back, so I just had to get the door. So, Jesus, look how high my death penalty is. My God, hold on. Have we got any cons to remove that? Get rid of that, please. I've got some green rock. I've got some candy cane shot. I don't have any death penalty removal. I need to just get my clovers off of Matt because we're not really using those that much on the dungeon series. Shit, my death penalty does actually worry me quite a bit here. 52. How's everyone else doing? 10. Everyone else is okay. That should get removed. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. All right. So about Blim. Basically, the story starts with the Ghost of Ascalon story starts with a group of people. Essentially, I want to tell you, you don't have to know too much about that because they're sort of important for the rest of the book. But a group of people who are a crew. They've been formed in a crew by an Asura who is looking for something called the Golem's Eye, which is essentially this artifact. Which, and you have, it's been like almost a year. Has it been a whole year yet since I've read the book? But they're looking for an artifact that was something developed by Blim. Blim eventually comes into genius, and he develops this Golem's Eye, which is a completely revolutionary thing for the way that golems work. Incredibly revolutionary, really, really, really great, and sort of boosts the power of golems and makes them incredibly good. But in any case, it's something that's dearly sought after, but didn't fall into the Asuran community after Blim died, because the way of Asuran culture goes that basically they'll develop stuff and they don't think that other Asura have the right to it. So there are a lot of great things that Asura, this is the idea anyway, that there are a lot of great things that Asura have created over the years, but some of them fall into never come to anything because they're just sort of zealously guarded by just a few Asura that never share it with anyone else because they don't think anyone else has the right to the fruits of their genius. So basically what Blim does is he buries this thing. He buries the Golem's Eye with him in his tomb. So the book starts with you going in there trying to find the Golem's Eye, which basically is described, okay, and this is where it gets quite interesting, it's described as this ruby crystal thing. So and there's a lot you can look at, and I don't have my notes to hand right now, but there's definitely a lot you can look at. I remember theorizing about this quite heavily, with where this Golem's Eye came from and how Blim got this idea. It's basically all to do with the Iron Forgeman and the idea that the Forgeman himself was also know, he's a golem. We all know he's a golem, the Forgeman. He's not, and as far as we knew, he wasn't an Asuran-made golem. However, he was underground, which is where the Asura are from, right? So, you know, it's not too unreasonable to think that maybe at some point an Asura had created that golem with the Jinn, right? And there's some links you can follow, basically, and you can trace it, and it's really interesting, because basically you can look at, and this theory, by the way, this is, I've got to say, this is entirely my own thoughts. I don't think I've ever read this anywhere else on the forums or anything. But basically, the golem, the Iron Forgeman himself, you'll see his eye. He has a single eye, and it's a ruby crystal. Basically, my idea is that that could be the golem's eye, that crystal there, because if you remember, Blim was working for Ula, and in Ula's lab there were loads of bits of the Iron Forgeman there. So she'd obviously, if not created the Forgeman himself, or knew someone who created the Forgeman himself, she was researching him, right? So you had that. There's also the fact that Zin, who Blim is now working for, Zin, at one point, Nicholas the Traveller wanted Ruby Jinn essence. He wanted Ruby Jinn essence, and he claimed that he wanted it to give it to Zin, who was working on some ways of powering golems using the Ruby Jinn essence. And you can then turn around and say, oh right, well, if you guys remember, the Iron Forgeman was also powered by Ruby Jinn. So, you know, there's all these links, and obviously now Blim is working for Zin. There was something else as well, which I forget. Something that directly connected Blim with the eye. Maybe it was just the fact that the golem's eye is described as exactly the same as that. But anyway, I quite like the idea that Blim had, through one of these channels, maybe through both the Zin and Ula, maybe somehow he'd realised, oh my god, look at the Iron Forgeman, look at how powerful this is. It's this eye, this is the core, this is the power, and he'd somehow tapped into that and created this super powerful artifact from it. There are a lot of hints, it's like a breadcrumb trail you can look through, and they're all kind of linked up. All three of those characters, Ula, Zin and Blim, they've all got some kind of links with the Iron Forgeman down there, which is really cool. I love the idea that the Iron Forgeman was created by the Asura at some point. And in fact, now that we've seen in the Gamescom 2011 trailer, we've seen that the Iron Forgeman is indeed still in the game. Very interesting. Maybe they've expanded on the lore there when we get to go back to it in the next dungeon, because he's alive again. Why is he alive again? Maybe the Asura recreated him. I don't know. What do you guys think? I quite like the idea anyway.